Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you a DbD developer update video. And there are a lot of good things in this so far. I would like to also give a heads up. I'm sorry in advance. I'm sucking on a license because uh, throat and my stomach aren't the best right now. So if you hear that rattling around, that's what that is. But this came out close to 3 hours ago for me and I wanted to talk about it because I'm quickly realizing that I am the guys, it's not that bad person of DbD so far when it comes to looking at these notes. Um, but yeah, there's some things that I'm still going to worry about. But hey, let's just go through it first before we get to the things that I'm most concerned about. First off, the biggest topic in this to me is the fact that the twins are getting an overhaul. Um, they've made it so that the time it takes to switch back to Charlotte is reduced by half. The time it takes to unbind Victor, a little bit less. Time to take to charge Victor Pounce is less. Added the ability to recall Victor at any point while he is unbound. That's amazing. Added the ability to change between Victor and Charlotte near a hooked survivor. The anti-face camp bar will still fail if you're too close. This usually applies to just Charlotte because she is the Geller and Victor is the power. But with these overhauls, I wouldn't be surprised if we find out that they've accounted for both. Then next we have the fact that they have updated 7 add-ons. I'm going to assume it's the add-ons that relate to the things that were up here. Next, these are where we get to the things that I see a lot of people that are concerned about. Now, I'll tell you right now, I don't main twins. I don't have too much time on twins, but people seem to like when I play twins every now and again. Um, the issue is that they've inverted how the twins work when it comes to the pounces. Pounce no longer latches onto holy survivors. So, what does that look like? Well, you hit somebody that's healthy, you bounce off, and from what I understand, you won't be kickable anymore. Instead, yes, you will no longer be kicked after successful pounces which do not latch onto a survivor. Instead, Victor's pounce now latches onto survivors when they are put into the down state. Other survivors can crush Victor during this to help the dying survivor. Victor will automatically return to Charlotte after 20 seconds. This is a change that people are going to have to get used to, but I do think it's better for the long run. Because check it out. I know people are like, well, how do I do the pressure? You're removing choice for me. For twins, the reason you slug so bad is because if you are too far away from the down, people can just pick their friend up, and the only thing you can really do is latch on to somebody that's healthy around them. That said, we should finish this off before I go too far into that. While Victor is attached to a survivor or holding the survivor in a locker, Charlotte gains 10% haste. This will be lost prematurely if Charlotte hits a survivor. This is nice. I don't think that it's the best thing for them, but hey, it's going to help you get to the down quicker. I still like my idea that Victor would drag the down survivor closer to you. I still like that idea, but hey, that might be a little bit too technical. They've also removed survivors near Victor while he's on somebody being detected by Killer Instinct. That's a big one when it comes to information. You'll have no clue if survivors are actually playing together without seeing them. So that's the one that's probably the scariest to me as a non-twins main. And you're probably wondering why. As somebody that isn't a twins main but can still play them decently enough when I do bring them out, I rely on the information of knowing where pairs are so you can play off of that because the biggest thing against twins currently is people playing in pairs. And when you have no information of where people are together, you lose. So with that out the way, that that's a big one. Now going back up to the whole slugging debacle. Well, with this, I'm assuming that that Victor latching on to somebody that's down will prevent them from being healed. Now, if it takes 1 second to crush Victor, then there's an issue. It needs to take a fair amount of time to get rid of Victor to have this be any value whatsoever. I do like that you can now tag multiple survivors with Victor instead of just, okay, tag down latch onto somebody else. Especially since you can recall Victor at any time. So that's a big one, right? Now, you do also have to change your playstyle to be more mindful of hopefully you can tag, tag down to discourage the person that might be around from just getting rid of Victor and then healing. But that's up to chance. You have no way of making sure that you can always find the person that's been playing around with where Victor is. However, now that you don't immediately latch on, you have more play with your power. You can actually inflict multiple wounds from everybody being healthy. Ideally. You put on Discordance, you find out that there's several people at one gen at the start of the match. You hit them all up with Victor, and you get the ball rolling. That's a much better change overall. Now, I know the Twins mains probably would disagree because they've evolved to, just understanding that they're going to get the one injure and then hopefully get that one down and rinse and repeat and leave people on the ground because that's how the only way you really had to play. Now, there's a bit more play, but it's going to take some getting used to. I think people are upset because it's something that's very niche. Nobody's playing Twins. Do I think that this will make people play Twins more? Probably not, if we're being honest. And I was expecting them to actually just like completely redo everything, and then people would want to play Twins more. But this is still Twins, just the Injure versus Slug is different. So, hey, I think you'll be okay once you get used to it, from the sounds of it. Now, the next thing is that they've added Victor's Grunch to the visual terror radius accessibility option. Um, I'm I like this, but the more things that get added to the visual terror radius, the more I realize how much of an issue this game kind of can be. Because for the visual terror radius, especially with somebody like the Twins, that's going to be a lot of information that people are going to have to juggle. Is it Victor's Grunch? Is it Charlotte nearby? If you have if you're using it because you have low hearing or you have hearing impairment, that might change your depth of what you need to be aware about. Because yeah, if you get hit by Victor, it's different because you can't be picked up. Whereas if you're around Charlotte, you're in a little bit more danger, depending on the tile. However, it's good that they have something to know that, hey, danger is afoot compared to just not knowing when half of the bad guy is working. Also, Victor will now glow red whenever he is vulnerable to being crushed. That's always been a thing. I'm not sure what they mean by new right there. Hey, Twins overall looks good to me. I understand why people are worried, but I think after you play about it for about a week, you'll feel that you just can play the fucking game. You can just play the game, right? Like, I think after you get through this, you'll realize you can play the game. Then we have Blight. Another thing that's a buff that could be a nerf though. Improve collision detection to reduce cases where the blight slides off objects. A lot of people that have put a lot of time into blight know what they're going to slide off of now and use that to get hits. So this could be shooting them in the foot. I don't know. We'll just have to see, because this could mean literally anything. Handfield. They've touched up Handfield and they're calling it medium for some reason instead of major. It sounds like it's major. They've updated the map layout and reduced the overall size. They reduced the length of hedges and fences to create more openings. I don't know why they didn't learn from this in the original Haddonfield, but hey, they did it again. Oops, they did it again. The map's long and narrow shape and rows of unbroken fences and or hedges made getting around very time consuming. We have reduced the overall size and added more openings to make it easier to traverse. They've also adjusted various houses to reduce the strength of strong loops and reduce the number of houses in the map. All remaining houses can be entered. Added pallets and lockers along the edge of the map. Updated street tiles to feature more pallet loops and adjust pallet loops and park tiles. Now I can safely say it's better for Trickster, Huntress, the ranges. Because what people were like, oh, but the middle is open, so you just get to do everything. And people completely forgot there's like 2 generators in the open compared to the rest being in like houses where you have to go up the houses and around the loop and do the trip de troop. And until recently, most of them were 110. So that was also just infinite for nothing. So now I can safely say that ranged is good for them. For the map is going to be good for them. Judging from what I'm seeing, this is already a huge change. That if somebody goes skadoosh, you just hold skadoosh skadoosh, right? Think it'll be fine. Decisive, the latest change that I think we all warned against because we've seen Decisive be annoying. Did it get overchanged at once originally? Yes, that's probably true. They brought it down to 3, couldn't activate it after the end game collapse was triggered, or the last. I still don't even remember at this point, and conspicuous actions. Whole lot of changes at around the same time. Now they've just straight up buffed the duration to 5 seconds, and they've added a new animation. I was talking to somebody about this in my comments lately. So hopefully the new animation doesn't eat up the new amount of time that you get with it. But also, this is a lazy change that I think you're just going to find yourself going back to, wait, now this is too long. Because if you're not playing Nurse and or Blight, maybe, I don't really know how current Blight is because I'm not seeing a lot of complaints about him anymore. So I'm going to assume that he's okay now. And I don't play Blight. So there's gonna be, well, are you Nurse? No? Okay, I guess I'm in this animation forever and I didn't know I was tunneling. Now, if you knew you were tunneling, then good, slap on the wrist, but that's been the whole thing with DS where, oops, I didn't know I was tunneling and this person's in my face, so I put him down. And then if not, well, guess what? That's been always the gambit with Decisive, not necessarily the duration. Every time this perk comes up, people forget what actually made it strong. It wasn't just itself, it was the fact that you either had DS and you were in the killer's face, or you also had Unbreakable, where the killer kind of figured you were going for DS and you got up scot free anyway. And now, it could play into possibly being plot twist somehow, some way, where you DS and then you go to a pallet and you plot twist there, but then somebody's nearby because they were coming to unhook you anyway. This is going to be a whole shebang, or it could be. I say could be because on the flip side, people also forget why we're talking about Decisive needing the buff, because people stopped taking it because they saw a number value being changed and went, oh, all is lost. Oh no, they were still tunneling. What am I gonna do? And that's because, well, quite frankly, you have built-in borrowed time, or off the record, whatever you want to go with there, and you felt that was enough to stop the tunneling, so you cried about the tunneling because whoop-de-whoop, it probably wasn't enough. So, borrowed time built in with Decisive should be fine, but I can see people already saying it isn't enough, so they're going to stop taking it, and then we're going to be crying about tunneling again. But hey, that's how that goes. Catch me in 6 months and tell me if I'm right. Adrenaline, huge change. Don't know why, if I'm being honest. Adrenaline will no longer work if you are hooked when the exit gates are powered. I, I, yeah, it did feel bad as a killer main to hook somebody, and then endgame goes off, and turns out the person that you hooked jumps off, is faster. Well, not jumps off, but gets off, is faster and healthy, and they just get out the door. That did feel bad. However, I don't think it is the end all be all. So, for it to be as nerfed as this, I wonder why. Now, this will decentivize somebody from just taking chase, knowing the gin's about to pop, and then the bad guy has wasted their entire time when they could be securing their one, or their two, or their three. Um, yeah, that's a change of all time, and I know people are gonna be upset about that. Does it affect the side that I played? No. Can I sympathize for the change? I can. Will I? Who knows? We'll see how bad it is. The speed burst duration, that could have stayed the same if you want to do that, if you're asking me. And there's no longer causes you to wake up when facing Freddy. Took you long enough. That was stupid. Then we go to Ultimate Weapon, and oh man, oh man. Survivors, you did this to yourself. You cried about a perk that was really not a problem, so much that they have kinda buffed it. You're gonna think I'm crazy saying that this is a buff, but hooey. I will also suggest something even crazier after this. So, Ultimate Weapon. It now reveals survivors' aura instead of causing them to scream, reduced activation time to 15 seconds was 30, and increased the cooldown to a minute instead of half a minute. This perk was so overhyped. Do you know why? Because da 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 da. Survivors now won't know that they are being revealed to the bad guy now. Here's a thing that I wanted all these dips dummies to know, right? If you knew, they knew, and if they know, you know. So guess what? If they weren't immediately next to you, they had about 32 meters worth of radius to start running. Because they knew you knew, you knew they knew. Now, they won't know. And you won't know, depending on what side you are, right? So now you'll just be revealed. Yeah, the 15 from 30 is kind of a huge cut, right? But let's be honest, if you walk for 30 seconds and you didn't find anybody, you didn't need it. And if you walk for 15, I think you should be fine. You should be finding somebody within 15 seconds. And it procking every minute, if you're opening a locker more than once a minute, you're probably taking too much time in the game. So, a lot of this just boils down to it getting buffed. However, behavior has designed themselves into a corner. Because now, the almighty distortion just gets a buff once more. Because it works on another thing, and uh-oh, SpaghettiOs, you can't have that. There are three ways to get information for the killer primarily: screams, auras, and killer instinct. Now, what happens with each of these? If you have an aura perk, it gets countered by distortion and the fucking slew of things that distortion stops you from seeing and scratches is fucking absurd at this point. It's really fucking stupid. Um, you should not have one perk that counters pretty much all the useful perks on one side. However, now with screaming, you've made it so that screams interrupt actions, which is good fun for one side, not good fun for the other side. So every time you put up something that causes screams, you make it so that the other side is sad because they've then also put on something like DMS or Grim Embrace. Well, I guess not Grim Embrace, Merciless Storm, and to which now, hey, I can't play the game. But the trade off there is that both people know that you know. So, I think Screams is the most fair out of the options. And then finally, Killer Instinct, which is garbage most of the time. However, this is the time that I think that I would suggest it. I think when you take with the problems of Ultimate Weapon, being that it was free information, essentially, and it interrupted actions, I think the thing that right now would have been the best, so that you can still get value from it, instead of people just having fucking distortion and blocking your aura reading, and you go, well, then you bring two aura perks, and it's just like, really? You want me to bring half of my build just to stop one perk? And not even stop it, just use it up a little bit quicker? That's insane. If Ultimate Weapon would have been Killer Instinct, you still get the information you would have got from when it was Screams, but you would no longer have it so that people's interactions are interrupted, and it can't be stopped just by distortion. I think this is one of the few times where I'd say Killer Instinct would be superior from any other type of information giving effect. We'll see about this. Is it overall a buff? In my eyes, yes. Because if everybody's not bringing distortion, well, guess what? They don't know that you know. And if you're throwing something like Gearhead to eat up stacks or whatever it may be, go for it, right? Be my guest. Be my guest. Be my guest. Next, emblems. Don't know why they use a toolbox here for emblems. Remove the ability to lose a pip. With emblems being solely for monthly rewards these days, it felt needlessly punishing to lose a pip after a rough match. This quality of life change will make the emblem system less stressful. This also applies to modifiers. You can enjoy these limited time modes without worrying about your grade. You should have never been worrying about your grade, to be honest, but it's a good change that's way overdue. Then we have some updates for the store. First up, a visual overhaul. Looks nice at first glance. I hope it's not too confusing. They added the specials tab to highlight items that are on sale. Perfect, thank you, because I'm tired of checking everything that has a little fucking exclamation mark. Added the collections tab to find cosmetics from a specific collection. Interesting. Interesting. I like that. I likes that. Added bundles containing multiple items at a discounted price. Ooh, okay. We'll see. Killer Mori animations can now be viewed in the store. Huh. Huh. Sounds like behavior's gearing up for selling different Moris. Everybody claimed that they'd actually buy them, but I want everybody to put their money where their mouth is when they talk about the monetization. Also, this community is very spoiled when it comes to monetization. Am I a fan of all of the monetization in DbD? No. But when you all actually touch grass and play any other game and realize that the monetization for this game is actually pretty darn fair, I think you'll shut the fuck up. But hey, we'll see. Added a weekly gift that can be claimed for free. interested in seeing what that is. So, but hey, we'll take free shit. Archives, minor update. New tomes and their respective rifts will now open at the same time as the update. Thought that was kind of always the plan, but okay. New Rift Bundle option, which grants the premium Rift rewards and a 20 tier head start at a discounted price. What was the. Don't we have this already? I thought we already had this. I never look in the Rift, so I'll say that much. Because all of it is usually I don't care about. But until next time, the Dead by Daylight team. Was this article helpful? Two people are upset. I think most of the things in here are good. I think behavior is showing cracks of designing themselves into corners when it comes to pretty much this entire section because you can't undo things. You can't undo, well, you can. They're obviously doing that. Can't undo things because of certain confounding factors. Can't make this longer because everybody else isn't as bad as Nurse, but then you buff Nurse, and I'm sorry, you nerf Nurse to try to make her a little bit more fair. So then this is more painful on her, but because of that, either way, that's how that goes. Overall, this Thunderation, hell, hey, I just hope that they actually made the animation take the exact same amount of time. Adrenaline, did it need to get nerfed? In my opinion, no. But it also kind of did because you saw it so often because of what happened. Yeah, you just had people or getting out scot free because they had one perk after somebody hit you, presumably twice, um, and then carried you all the way to a hook. And then what happened was the rest of your team won the game for you, and you got rewarded for it. Uh, hey, it's supposed to be kind of a team game, so I don't know. And then this is a buff to most of the game. Once you find out how many people, what'll happen is this is very meta dependent. Where some meta people just run distortion, and a lot of times the people that are running distortion are kind of cheats anyway. And then also, well, hey, if people aren't running distortion, you're running ultimate weapon. But I've also told you several times that you shouldn't be running ultimate weapon on people that don't already need to go to lockers because you're wasting a lot of flipping time on certain maps. So the maps are usually not great. That's why a lot of people like me, as a former, current trickster man, I don't know what I'm doing, will tell you that going to lockers all the time is a waste of time. So we'll see about ultimate weapon, but I'm telling you right now, this is hilarious to me. About time on this, and hey, this is pretty. But yeah, tell me what you think about all of this. This has officially been 3 hours away from me now. And yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment for me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.